light of the county's budget deficit, how do you balance fiscal responsibility with the need to fund essential services?
Well, the obviously essential services is critical to the quality of life of all of our residents, and so I believe that I am a good fiscal responsible elected official. I don't want to overspend with the resources that I have available. I learned from my time on city council that you can have all the priorities you want, but you have to compare them against your available revenue. And if you can fund those priorities with that revenue, great. But if you start to add new priorities in the middle of the process, then something has got to give. And so I look at our resources. I look at our initiatives, and I make sure that we're paying attention to the essential services. And so sometimes I have to debate whether adding a new priority on top of those that are struggling to be funded but are essential services. I think I help to bring a voice to the table about making sure that our revenue matches the available priorities that we want to pursue.
How are you working to ensure that the county budget prioritizes services for underserved communities? And can you highlight some of the areas where underserved communities are being prioritized?
Yes, I think that's going to be what this Commissioner's Court is going to be known for. I think we have done so well with recognizing that county government can also serve and must serve communities, and in particularly pay attention to who have been historically underserved. One of the first things that we have done as a court is to implement a social vulnerability index. We have implemented a prioritization framework for the things that we're doing in the community. For example, like flood control projects and other infrastructure initiatives. We have committed ourselves to making sure that our underserved communities, those who have historically been underinvested in by the county, are now getting proper attention and investment by virtue of the strategy we're working to implement. And so working aggressively to bring more access to quality health care in the precinct has been a major effort by mine. Focusing on creating initiatives that will strengthen a young person's ability to get to the universities of their choice and to prepare them at their youngest age. And I now have a early education center in one of my facilities, and I launched early on a ACT, SAT college prep course for young people in the precinct. And so, and then affordable housing. I want to make sure that I'm doing all that I can, and I have been just immensely bullish on creating more true affordable housing in my precinct, so those that live in my precinct can own and participate in the American dream rather than rent where they live.
So how do you kind of maintain that working relationships with colleagues who don't always agree with you?
I think the disagreement is healthy, but at the end of the day, I think I have to recognize. I've been on the disagreeing side of a few things, but at the end of the day, you recognize that you have to give all things their proper due and attention and commitment, And on the issue of the deputies, some may look at it strictly in terms of the money that's being invested, but rather, I'm the only person on the court who has been a police officer, been on the streets when the city went through a critical economic downturn. I saw the crime rate explode. I saw the homicide rate go to its highest in my history, and so I know what can happen if we do not invest in public safety.